Hi everybody, this is God's Girl G. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. And for those of you returning to this channel to watch this video and you are not already subscribed, I'm going to encourage you to do so by clicking the subscribe icon below. That way you won't miss any of the videos that I upload. And if during the course of this video you hear something that you like, click the thumbs up, comment below, or better yet, share this video with someone who you feel could benefit from its information. With that stated, let's get into today's discussion. It has been a long time since I have made a video that specifically targets mature Christian singles. And some of you may be wondering why. Well, it's an easy explanation. Ever since I got married about 9 years ago, unfortunately, the single community has kind of disqualified me from even being able to speak on the topic, even though the techniques that I share and have is what I used to put me on the path to getting married. Recently there has been a surge in comments on some of my old videos about relationships, and also some requests coming in for me to speak to things that are similar to the topic that I'm going to talk about today, which is dating ideas that no longer work. So in essence, those comments and the emails that I received is kind of me pulling me out of retirement on the topic. Because just know, now that I have been married now for 9 years, getting ready to go on 10, doesn't mean I'm no longer rooting for the mature Christian single. I'm rooting for you. As I was contemplating and praying, what more do I have to share on this topic of what mature Christian singles can do? There was a common theme that emerged. And that theme was that there are things that you may be doing that may have worked for you in your early years, like your 20s and maybe even early 30s, that as a mature Christian single, it no longer works. And so that's what I want to address and talk about today. So for those of you who are 40 plus and may be wondering or asking the question, why am I still single? Here are some ideas that you might want to rethink. Now, the scripture reference for everything I'm going to share is actually Proverbs 23:7. The Bible says, as a man or woman thinketh, so is he or she. And what that scripture tells us, in essence, is that we all have a choice in the way that we see ourselves and our circumstances. We can see it through a victimized lens or a victorious lens. And the way that you see yourself or think about yourself, our actions usually follow. Here is a short list, and of course not comprehensive, of some things that are top of mind that you might be thinking and some ideas that you might have that are no longer working for you. Number one, isolation and routine. Now, I get it with age. We tend to further retreat into those routines that fit our comfort zone. It's almost like the more financially comfortable that you get, the more that you retreat. So it's almost like you create this bubble that is comfortable to you and nobody is allowed in. And that makes it harder for you to take risks. I get it, after a long day work, maybe the one thing that you want to do is put on some comfort clothes, watch Netflix, and get your favorite snack. I get it. But do you have to do it all the time? This also might show up in the pattern of thinking of, well, I am just being me. And there's nothing wrong with being you. But keep in mind, sometimes those ideas that you have about yourself may be the root of the problem and cause you to be isolated in that bubble, which prevents you from having the end result of meeting new people. So what's the bottom line? Many of the activities that we have to comfort ourselves can actually have the opposite consequence of really what you're seeking. You should make it a point to take some actions that put yourself out there, looking your best, a smile, and making eye contact that means confidence to let the world know that you're there. Even trying new activities, being open to dating diverse people, and discovering new parts of yourself that you never imagined. The next idea that could actually be hindering our progress is pickiness. Yeah, I said it. As we age and get more and more comfortable, we begin to refine our list of things that we are looking for and things that we don't like. Nothing wrong with having a list. However, the more that we age and as we grow more and more mature, the more picky and, I hate to say it, judgmental that we get. And I get it. You want things the way that you want them. And this is particularly true after you've had a really bad relationship experience. Thoughts may surface around pickiness that sound like this: there are no decent men or women out there. All the good ones are taken. You can't trust men or you can't trust women. All people are out to do is take advantage of you. Keep in mind, you, my friend, may have some unrealistic expectations. When viewing the world from a critical eye, you can write off a range of potential partners, even before giving them a chance. And in one way, the first idea of isolation and I'm just being me type of thing can be contrary to then what you are looking for in being picky. You wouldn't want someone being that picky with you. So keep in mind, the judgmental eye that you're viewing others through may be the same judgmental eye they're viewing you through. The next idea that could be hindering you is fear of intimacy. Now again, intimacy does not equal sex. Intimacy is the pathway in which we really get to know someone on a deeper level. Intimacy is broken down into me, see. So most of you may say that you want to find a loving partner, but the fear of finding real love may disrupt your fantasies of love that have served as a survival mechanism since childhood. This is how this one shows up. You may push away someone and self-sabotage to preserve your belief system. But in essence, you're doing that because you have a fear of intimacy. Let me explain further. Our fears surrounding intimacy may manifest as concerns over someone liking us too much. So if you found yourself saying, well, they just like me a little too much, you might want to go back and evaluate whether or not you have a fear of intimacy. Because if that, my friend, is a completely irrational reason not to date someone, that don't make no sense. Another way this shows up is that you may push the other person away by being critical. This goes back to the previous idea of pickiness. You may engage in some nasty behavior toward that person, essentially making sure that they don't give you some of the loving and caring responses that you may look for, because it's a sign that you can only tolerate a certain level of closeness, and anything beyond that is uncomfortable for you, pointing to the fact that, my friend, you may have a fear of intimacy. And idea number 4, unhealthy attractions. Now, this is a big one. When we act on our defenses or fears, we tend to choose less than ideal relationship partners. You may establish an unsatisfying relationship by selecting a person who is not emotionally available. Ponder that. Now, what is interesting is that the idea that leads up to the action of this is done unconsciously. Selecting emotionally unavailable people in dating can leave you feeling devastated or hurt by the repeated rejections without recognizing that you, my friend, yourself may be seeking out the pattern. Now, the next question is, why would people do this? Why would someone self-sabotage and go into an unhealthy relationship or attraction? The reasons are complex and often embedded in fears of intimacy. Many people have an unconscious motivation to seek out relationships that reinforce critical thoughts they have long held toward themselves and replay negative aspects of childhood. These may be unpleasant, but breaking old patterns can cause great anxiety and discomfort and make you feel strangely alienated and alone in a loving environment. So if you see a pattern in going after people who are emotionally unavailable, explore that further. Now, on the flip side, what are some things and ideas that you should consider doing that will help you overcome those ideas that are no longer working? Consideration number 1, try something new. The way that people date and engage in relationship activities that lead up to marriage, they evolve and change over time. So some of the things that you listen to in your 20s and 30s, whether it be from a sermon or a well-meaning friend, that might be outdated for where we are in today's world. So don't be overly attached to just one type of dating model. Consideration number 2, take advantage of the opportunities that you do get. Now, I know that sounds like an obvious point, but it goes back to the idea of you may disqualify people before you even give them a chance. And this goes back to the concept of have fun, Don't make it more serious than what it has to be. Enjoy the company of someone that comes along. If it turns out that the chemistry is great, wonderful. If not, that's okay too. The bottom line here is, all in all, you have to accept as you're getting older and you find yourself single, the options get more and more limited. Therefore, you shouldn't let good opportunities pass you up. You can't use the same approach that you used when you were 19 or 20. You have changed, you've aged, you've gotten older, and so should your concepts around dating. And consideration number 3, date outside your proverbial social box. If you're not meeting anybody in your inner circle, one solution is to look outside that circle. Now, we all have a social box. We all come from a particular culture, certain neighborhoods, economic environments, and family background. There is nothing wrong with marrying somebody like you. However, you might be limiting some great opportunities if you never start dating outside of your social box. Think about this question: what are the types of people that you've always dated? And if you find yourself in a pattern, try something new. My dear brothers and sisters, just know that although I'm married, I actually do still get it. It's not always pleasant being older or a mature Christian single. All this video was meant to do is to open your eyes to some thoughts and ideas that might be hindering you. Now, what I'm not saying is that you need to consider lowering your standards. That's not what I'm saying here. But if you are still single and getting older, the ideas are something that you need to consider. What qualities are you placing too much importance on? What qualities might you want in someone, but they may not be absolutely necessary? The longer the list of expectations that you have, the less likely that you are to meet someone just like that list of expectations. Now, this is also not a green light to date everybody. If you don't like somebody, you just don't like them. That's fine. Just don't be so stuck and tight on your rules, and be open to something new. Thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Bye.